a decade of results for the Toronto Stock Exchange main index. Look at this. Look at April 2nd, 2008, April 3rd, 2018. That's a decade. It's up 12%. Not annually, in total. Holy smokes. Like I'm tearing up. We don't want to be invested just in Canada. We know that. If we do that, we only get 4% of the planet. But look at the underperformance we doom ourselves to. That's pretty graphic, isn't it? I call it flat. We're virtually flat. Awful performance. All right, the markets are crashing. What does that look like from a chart perspective? Bad news. So again, here's Toronto. Underwater for the year. Past 12 months. Underwater. S&P, at least it's up 12% for 1 year. Okay, we're down 3%. And it wouldn't surprise you, the Dow, better performer, up 17%. The global index, which you kind of keep an eye on too, up 11. Okay, so again, New York's been hot. All right, let's talk about being hot. So you may remember, when I was down in the States, I saw some articles in USA Today about what do you do with a market that's so hot and it's been hot for so long and it looks overheated. Look at the graph. Look at this final, massive, right? So that's a bubble, right? So could your eyes have spotted that? Well, I mean, the financial press was starting to write about it. It's too hot, it's overheated. Something's up. So what do you do if the markets are frothy like that? Well, one of the best things you can do is get to cash. Raise a little bit of cash. Talked about this last week. Cash out a little bit. Take your profits. If you've invested 1,000 and something's growing to 2,000, take 1,000 off. Take your money out of the game. Play with house money. It's like going to Vegas. Put $1,000, I don't put $10 down. I get to 20, I take my 10 off. I got my 10 back in my pocket. I'll still play with this 10 bucks now because if I lose that, I'm not a big gambler. By the way, I don't consider the stock market gambling. People say, oh, the stock market's like gambling. It's not gambling at all. We're patient, have a long-term perspective. We know what we want to buy. We want to buy quality companies. There's no gambling at all. As long as you believe in society and tech's going to make us a better world and there's going to be improvements in our living quality and folks who don't have the economic abilities that we do in developing countries are going to, you got to believe in that. Volatility spikes in latter stages of a market upswing. As swings grow wilder, investors gravitate to stocks with strong profits. They tend to be relatively safe harbors during volatility storms. Get to cash, raise some cash. It certainly was a good opportunity for what's about to happen because when you get to cash, what you're going to find is there's investment opportunities. All right, let's look at some charts. So, I like these guys. They're super technical. And I learn lots by reading them. And I usually take a company or two and feature them in the Globe on Saturdays. So that is a technical chart. So so here's some terminology. This is a head and shoulders chart. Left shoulder, right shoulder ahead. It's called a head and shoulders chart. And let's see what they tell us about it. This is Suncor Energy, and we know the energy stocks have been fairly cold, right? They certainly didn't have a big run. Suncor declined from 47 to 30. 47 to 30. And then settled in a bullish technical pattern known as an inverse head and shoulder formation, solid lines. In late 16, stock had a sharp rise to 44. Right? So this is it finds a base here. Comes down, rallies, falls again, rallies, base, and off it goes. Stock had a sharp rise back up to 44-ish. So inflection point and back, that's what we call that. Traded below a falling trend line for almost 1 year. Recent rise to 48 signaled renewed investor interest and the start of a new leg up. In other words, as we draw this technical line, it's rallied through a technical line. So that would be an example of a stock that is giving you some buy indications. Current pullback towards the 40-week moving average should provide a good entry point. Behavior indicators, including the rising 40-week moving average, 200 days, 40 weeks. Confirm the positive status, only a sustained decline below 41 will be negative. Point and figure measurements provide targets of 53 and 59. Higher targets are visible. Amazon. So we know that Trump is picking on Amazon. So here's what Trump is doing. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. The Washington Post and the New York Times are fake news along with CNN in Trump's perspective. That's when he talks fake news, he's talking Washington Post, New York Times, and CNN. Bezos owns the Washington Post. So Trump attacks Amazon. Bezos also owns Amazon. He attacks Amazon. Basically blames them for eliminating retail jobs, believes that they don't pay the postal service enough to deliver parcels. Here's the reality. If there was no Amazon, there'd be no postal service. Think about it. Who sends letters in the mail anymore? Virtually everything that's moving in Amazon or in postal services is e-commerce stuff. Look what Trump did to Amazon. Amazon hasn't had a Facebook issue. This is Trump. And Amazon hasn't had a major security breach, which kind of questions the firm's viability. This is just Trump. Number of Trump tweets about Stormy Daniels this week, 0. Number of Donald Trump tweets about Amazon, 1. Stormy stock may be rising after a 60 Minutes interview, but Amazon stock was falling after Trump called out the e-commerce giant for supposedly paying little or no taxes, using the U.S. Postal Service as a delivery boy, putting many thousands of retailers out of business. This isn't Facebook. This is just Trump distracting attention from Stormy Daniels. Amazon's a fantastic company. So again, do our eyes say that's an entry point? It's peaked 1550, 1560. It's down to under 1400, 1450. Our bank stocks have been flat. If anything, they're falling. For those of you who bought some stocks, like they're down. Royal's down, TD Bank, the entire complex is down. XFN is down, the index fund where you can buy all those banks in one spot. Should I be worried? Investors have not been buying these. Canada's biggest bank. So we know, like I funded my kids' post-secondary plans with banks. We know the story. Monopoly, pricing, every one of you bank with them. You're probably going to the rest of your lives. Canada's biggest banks, sale past expectations, latest quarter results, but bank stocks have gone nowhere since the reporting season wrapped up last week. So again, does that create a little opportunity for us? All right? So, lessons. If you see a huge top, maybe it's time to accumulate some cash because some deals may come, and that's where we are right now. The top came. If you had raised a little cash, there's deals right now. Lots of them. Happy shopping. Have a good week.